Hello, I hope you are very well. I have got some bombshell royal stories for you today. First of all, Meghan Markle goes after her critics in the most aggressive way possible. But first, breaking news and a legal, financial and emotional nightmare for Prince Harry as he loses his Court of Appeal battle for taxpayer-funded armed police protection when he's in the UK. Now, the case revolved around the decision by the UK authorities to downgrade Harry and Meghan's royal security once they ceased being serving royals and following their move to North America. Now, the Duke of Sussex will be liable for, wait for it, £1.5 million worth of legal costs. The best part of $2 million down the drain. Now, the Master of the Rolls, what a great title that is, Sir Geoffrey Voss, acknowledged Harry's emotional argument, but concluded that they did not translate into a legal argument. So Harry's gone there and he's performed a pity party. He's a specialist in victimhood. Poor me, I'm poor Prince Harry, the world's least happy millionaire. Poor me, oh, humpy dumpy dumpy dumpy. And yes, the court were persuaded that the guy was pretty unhappy about the situation and depressed about, let's be honest, everything. But an emotional argument is not a legal one. Isn't it fantastic to see these lawyers stand up to Prince Harry? Because not only is he the world's least happy millionaire, I think he's the most spoiled brat on the planet. I really do. The guy is crazily entitled. He thinks that he can give up his royal duties, move to quite literally another country, and then do interviews and podcasts and documentaries and a book attacking the country, attacking the press of the United Kingdom, which I think is world class, attacking his family, and attacking the institution of the monarchy. He thinks he can do all of that and then keep all of the benefits, the top royal protection, the armed cops, all the rest of it. And by the way, I would feel sorry for any cop having to defend Harry. Would you take a bullet for that guy? For that man who specialises in moaning, poor me, my terrible life. Oh, poor Prince Harry. Do me a favour. So, listen, the guy has been absolutely duffed up in the court. It is a crushing defeat for him. I love that line. His emotional arguments did not translate into legal arguments. Finally, the H-bomb, Harry, my husband, gets the wake-up call he needs. This lawyer went on, the Duke's sense of grievance does not amount to grounds for a legal challenge. I love this, right? The lawyers are actually pointing out what an absolute moaning mini he actually is. The Duke's sense of grievance. I mean, they're sick of the sight of this guy as well, shuffling up to the court every day in his grey suit. Poor Harry. Poor really miserable world's least happy millionaire. Humpy dumpy dumpy dumpy. The appeal follows a High Court ruling in 2023, which also sided with the Home Office. Give it up, Harry! Give it up, baby! Did no one ever tell you that when you're in a hole, you stop digging? I mean, seriously. So, let's go through Harry's legal argument. He claimed he was singled out and subjected to unjustified inferior treatment. Subjected to unjustified and inferior treatment as, quite literally, the son at the time of Prince Charles, now King Charles. Prince Harry is a multi-millionaire worth tens of millions of dollars. He's world famous. He was born into untold privilege and luxury. And yet, he's been singled out and subjected to unjustified and inferior treatment. Well, I know the source of this, and it's a certain lady in his life. It's the woman he married, Meghan Markle. H-bomb, my husband, Harry. And she's in his ear because, of course, she is behind the victim narrative because that's what this woman specialises in. Did you see that the other day where, in an interview, she claimed that she struggled to get work because of her freckles? I couldn't get hired as an actress because of my freckly face. I got a freckly face. Sorry, careful with my language there. A freckly face. She thinks that you can't get work as a freckle-skinned actress. Why don't you put that to Lindsay Lohan or Gwyneth Paltrow, to name but two. Gwyneth Paltrow, by the way, she's won an Oscar with a famously freckled face. Give it up, Meghan. Anyhow, so the victim narrative, the victim mentality, that all comes from Meghan, and it's gone into his head like a big, horrible brain virus. And therefore, he's tried to tell the court that he's been singled out. He's tried to make them feel sorry for this man that lives in a mansion worth $20 million, which has 16 bathrooms, which he can now cry into every toilet tonight as he reflects on this massive legal loss. His legal team argued that the authorities used a bespoke process instead of the normal security risk assessment framework. Now, they submitted that a terror group made a threat to Harry. We've all had terror threats, love. I've had them, seriously. I mean, it's a dangerous world out there. He's a public figure. This terror threat story was submitted by his King's Counsel, Shahid Fatima, who, by the way, is going to be the next Sussex employee to get the chop. You're fired, baby! Because Harry and Meghan get through staff members like Mick Jagger gets through groupies. Or at least back in the day. Is Mick still a ladies' man? Has Mick finally settled down? Oh, start me up! I better not sing the Rolling Stones. It will cost me £100 million on YouTube. So, the government's response, the Home Office, the government have won. It's a slam dunk for the UK authorities. We do get some things right in this country. We'll do a mic drop for that. The Home Office barrister Sir James Eady KC said Harry's argument fails to see the wood for the trees. Boom! Eady claimed that Harry's bespoke treatment is actually more appropriate, reflecting his unique circumstances. Boom! Ravek, which is the authority responsible for deciding which royals get what protection, their policy is that non-working royals are not entitled to regular police protection but can receive it on a case-by-case basis. Have you heard of that, folks? It is called common sense. Sorry, I was playing an imaginary piano. It doesn't work without the piano. You've got the air guitar is great, but the imaginary piano, I'm not feeling. Can you believe that? Common sense. Don't you think it's amazing that this millionaire aristocrat who's had a life of untold privilege and protection should be exposed to reality like this? And you know what's hilarious? He's brought it on himself. This court case was his idea, right? Normally, when people go to court, it's like, oh dear, I drove too quickly, or I didn't pay my taxes, or I punched someone on the nose. But this is a guy that chose to be in court. Make it make sense. So let's go through the consequences. This is absolutely devastating for Harry. First of all, it's humiliating. It's humiliazione, to use the Spanish. It is crushingly embarrassing. So the case has cost the British taxpayers £500,000, right? But Harry, he's going to have to pay that back to us. So all that money that we've spent here in the UK is going to be returned to us by Prince Harry, the H-bomb, my husband. Harry is expected to pay both sides legal fees. Do you want to know how much that is? I think I mentioned it earlier. Almost $2 million for a pathetically failed court case. $2 million out of the Sussexes' bank account. The ruling means that Harry, Meghan and their children will not receive taxpayer-funded armed force protection within the UK. He can appeal to the Supreme Court, but this would require an order of magnitude more money. This guy, if he goes to the Supreme Court and he loses, he could be 5, 6, 7, 8. He could be $10 million down. Okay, this could halve his fortune if he's not careful. No, he's worth more than that, but what did he get? 20 million for spare. Do you know what I'll do? I'm going to do a live check. Let's find out how much the H-bomb is worth, because I think we'd all like to know. So here we go. Prince Harry net worth. This is live reporting, because I think we all need to know. Because whatever his net worth is, it is going to dwindle. Okay, we're searching the internet now. You see, Joe Rogan's got Jamie, hasn't he? I don't. I've got the AI. Let's have a look. Let's bring this down and I can give you an answer live. It's breaking news, basically. His net worth is reportedly around $60 million. Well, he's already minus $2 million from this ridiculous court case. It's been a financial, emotional, reputational, and legal disaster for him. He should never have started in the first place. First of all, he had the original court case, which he lost. Then he appealed, never appealed. He might go to the Supreme Court. I'm not sure the marriage will survive another legal failure, by the way. Can you imagine how angry Meghan is at this moment, knowing that their coffers are lighter by the small matter of $2 million? Charles is not happy. Charles is furious. And let me tell you one reason why. Because the royals, they're so discreet. They're so respectful. And do you know what they don't do? Do you know what the royal family don't do? They don't sue the British government, because that's a really bad idea, because the whole point about the royals, the magic of them, is that they're non-political. They are non-political. They are non-politicare. But this numpty, the world's least happy millionaire, has decided to sue the British government, which is a terrible look for the monarchy. But does Harry care? No. His recent history suggests that he doesn't care about the institution. He'll do everything he can to damage it. And why is that? Why is he so riven with hatred, rage, and revenge? Why is that? What's gotten into him? Why is he not just the world's least happy millionaire, but also the most bitter millionaire? I'll give you a 2-word answer. My husband. It is she. So you don't sue the government, which he's done, and he's lost. Lol. Also, he doesn't have to worry about his security, because if he spent some time with his family, if he showed some love for William and Catherine and for King Charles and Queen Camilla, he would be fully protected. Let me tell you, if you're having tea with the king, you are safe. It is patently clear that you're safe. If you're having tea with the king of the United Kingdom, you're the safest person on God's earth. So that's what he needs to do, is hang out with the family, and he's going to have to rebuild, apologize for everything, and they might just show him a bit of slack. I know many of you in the comments, you will accept no forgiveness of Harry, and I respect that. Keep those comments coming, because they shape what I do. Because I read your comments. They're fascinating. They're often funny. They're often kind. Sometimes you agree, sometimes you don't. But it shapes what this show is all about. And I've got to say, if I did a poll, I should do a poll actually, how many people would like to forgive Harry and welcome him back into the royal fold? I think the poll on your part would be about 10% yes, 90% niet. So, Harry wants to have his cake and eat it. We talked about that when I was on holiday. I had to interrupt my holiday because of this prize numpty, didn't I? I was in Snowdonia on the top of a peak, out of breath, perspiring significantly. And I had to interrupt my holiday because of this court case that he started. And at the time, I said that he suffers from an awful illness called cakeism, in which he wants to have his cake, but also eat it. Now, let me explain that. That means that it's like a child, because he's still a child. He's immature. He's a spoiled BRAT. If you want to have your cake and eat it, it means you want the cake to be there, but you also want it in your tummy. But the truth is, Harry, H-bomb, that the cake can't be there on the plate and also in your tummy. It can't be in both places. You have to make a choice. And this guy's never had to make a choice in his life. So he's spoiled. And then also, he wants something for nothing. He wants to have all of the freedom. He's in California and he's having dinner with the Clooneys. Can you imagine anything worse than dinner with the Clooneys? With old George waffling on about his latest part playing Abraham Lincoln or something. Some great historic figure. And Amal banging on about human rights. I mean, I love the human rights, but enough already with the war zones. I'm having a lasagna here. Get me a glass of wine. I'm trying to enjoy myself. So they want to have their cake and eat it. Well, the courts have said no. They've actually slapped this couple, this indulgent and selfish couple, on the wrist. And also, here's the thing about Harry, wild hypocrisy. The couple really specialize in hypocrisy. They lecture us about net zero whilst dashing around the world in a private jet. And they talk about family values and peace and being nice to each other, #be kind, whilst attacking their own family members, or in Meghan's case, gaslighting and excluding them. Poor old Thomas Markle. But another way in which they're hypocrites is they're so worried about their royal protection, except that they have a great appetite for dangerous locations. They've been to Colombia, they've been to Nigeria, and Harry's just come back from Ukraine, which is famously at war. And he's worried about his royal protection. Make it make sense. And by the way, I'll say another thing. I've got many wonderful Americans watching, by the way. We've got Norway, we've got Holland, we've got Mexico, the United Kingdom, Republic of Ireland, hello. We have the United States, Canada, we have New Zealand, we have Australia. I always forget key countries. We are so global now. You might be having your breakfast, your lunch, or your dinner, or this could be a through the night hello. Anyway, we're very global, and but we've got lots of Americans watching, and California, right? I love California. It's become a dangerous state. It's become lawless. So they have carjackings, shoplifting is rife, vagrancy, drug abuse, violent crime. And they're worried about their safety in the United Kingdom. Have you seen Santa Monica Beach these days? It is like a shanty town. It is like the third world, some of it. And I say that with no pleasure because I love America and I especially love California. When I was a kid, we visited my lovely auntie and uncle in California. And when I got off the plane, I said to my parents, welcome to LA, right? I thought, I was only about 8. I thought I'd come up with the nickname LA. I thought I'd come up with that. Los Angeles, LA. I said welcome to LA like I'd come up with that. I found out the hard way that I had not. Very humbling moment for a young Mark Dolan Esquire. So, but look, they're worried about violence. They live in California, which is a beautiful state, but it's dangerous. It's crazy crime there. And yet, and Ukraine and Nigeria, but no, apparently, driving up the mall in a bulletproof Jaguar car is a risk to their life and limb. By the way, can I shock you? I'm going to shock all of you because can I say the one thing we don't do on this show, and I will never do, is narratives. I'm actually quite famous for unfashionable opinions as well as outfits. And also, I will never BS you or make this an echo chamber and tell you what you want to hear. And my old job on TV, I used to say things that I knew a lot of our viewers would disagree with because I just say it like it is. I really do. So I'm now going to say something that I think most of you will disagree with. The guy's lost the court case. He should never have had it. But I actually think on principle, he should have royal protection because he did not choose to be the king's son. That was an accident of birth. So a celebrity chooses to be famous, like Britney Spears. She's got her problems, poor lady. But, she entered showbiz and she's finding out that it's a hard business to be in. C'est la vie, okay? It's tough. My heart goes out to her, but she chose that path. Harry didn't. And actually, as I mentioned in yesterday's video, Harry has no desire to be famous or to be in the public eye or be photographed. Harry doesn't want that. What does Harry want? Harry wants to play with his kids. He wants to have beers with his soldier military buddies. He wants to play polo. He wants to chill out at home. He wants an ordinary, simple life. And it's a tragedy that he's got quite the opposite, thanks to my hate. So it's a disaster for Harry, and he's looking more and more like a loser. And if there's one thing I know about the Americans, you guys do not like a loser. The Americans do not like a loser. And Harry is turning into the world's biggest loser. Don't forget that his war against the press, which I find deeply wrong and unethical, because you shouldn't have millionaire aristocrats trying to muzzle the press, because he wants the elite to be protected from public scrutiny. Well, not on my watch. Oh, I forgot to tell you how I was going to disagree with most of you. Or did I? Yeah, no, I did say it. He needs to have, I think he should have the royal protection. I think he is a target, and I think Meghan is, and I would like them to have armed protection wherever they go. I really would. But please shout at me in the comments. Let me know what you think, because Mark Dolan shows a broad church. But I actually think they should have the protection. But I also think Harry was wrong to take this to court. He's a prize numpty. And anyway, Harry will be protected most of the time when he's in the UK, especially if he gives the authorities warning. If he's respectful and says, I'm coming in a month, they will protect him, okay? The police do not want anything like that tragic to happen on their watch in this country. The king doesn't want it. It ain't going to happen. Okay. So he also lost a court case against the Mail on Sunday in January 2024. This was quite extraordinary. This was basically, he sued the Mail on Sunday for libel. And then he realized that he was going to lose the case. So he backed out, and it meant that he had once again to pay the Mail on Sunday's legal costs and his own, which came to, wait for it, $1 million. So the legal bill is just going up, up, up. So we had $2 million for the court case he lost today, and then another milione against the Mail on Sunday. He withdrew that action in January of 2024. And we know why. It's because he's actually a man of poor judgment, Harry. He's got Meghan in his ear the whole time, polluting his brain. And I don't find him the most intelligent person. I think he's a thicko. I think he's a couple of roses short of a flower bed is what I think. So therefore, that is a terrible mix, isn't it? An ill-conceived and foolish wife, 3 brain cells, and no judgment whatsoever, and fueled by rage, bitterness, and toxicity. Anyway, isn't that a shocker? So Harry is in trouble, and I think it's going to put pressure on the marriage because Meghan will not like to be married to a loser, a serial loser. She won't be happy about the depleted funds because the things that matter to her are money, fame, power, and celebrity, right? With money number one. So she won't be happy. And he's running out of books to write because he's already sold The Secrets Down the River. So that is a shocker, and it's bad news, and I think puts pressure on their marriage. Watch this space. Will Harry appeal? Well, if he appeals to the Supreme Court, like I said, the legal costs could go to 10 million, at which point he really will be in trouble. So let's watch this space on that one. But we know, don't we, that Meghan Markle is impervious to criticism. She's allergic to it. It makes her bristle. It fills her with rage. When Piers Morgan, a good friend of mine, dared to say that he didn't believe her testimony in that Oprah Winfrey TV interview when she attacked the royal family and played the victim card, Markle wrote a furious letter to Piers Morgan's bosses at ITV, and he lost his job as a breakfast TV host. That was devastating for Piers. All he said is, I don't believe a word this woman says, and he's got plenty of justification for that. When Jeremy Clarkson made a satirical remark about his dislike for Meghan Markle, he said, I hate her on a cellular level, which I thought was hilarious. He was forced into a groveling apology, and Clarkson doesn't apologize to many people. And of course, Thomas Markle, the aforementioned, who posed for an ill-advised photograph in an internet cafe before Harry and Meghan's wedding, and he gave an interview, a short interview to a journalist about his daughter. He was banished from her kingdom, and he's never even met his grandchildren. And now, one of the finest chefs in the world is reportedly feeling the wrath of Meghan's lawyers via Netflix for daring to criticize the Duchess's immaculate culinary skills. Because, of course, she is the new Gordon Ramsay, isn't she? Meghan is perfect. She's an amazing human being. She's got her truth. She's an incredible cook. Because after all, let's look at some of her amazing ingredients. For example, she goes to the supermarket and she buys a packet of pretzels, right? Ready-made pretzels. And she puts them into a different bag. And that, folks, is cookery. That should earn her a Michelin star for taking some ready-made food that somebody else made, a very underpaid Mexican in a factory somewhere, very far from their Montecito mansion. And she's shaken it into another bag and then written one of her creepy notes. With love, Meghan. And it's got HRH on it just to annoy King Charles. HRH, Her Royal Highness, because I am royalty. So it's been a disaster. That TV show, she's obviously a catastrophic cook. I think one of the hardest things for the production crew was having to taste her food in between filming and pretend it was nice and not run to the toilet with severe either indigestion or indeed stomach upset and full diarrhea. Nothing that Meghan has created would pass my lips because I fear that it's tainted and it's gone off and it's not correctly cooked through. The woman's a klutz. She's a catastrophe in the kitchen. She ain't no chef. And she was even mocked by Gwyneth Paltrow, the aforementioned, who did a hilarious video in which she basically teased Meghan about the Netflix show. Because this Netflix show was done in Meghan's pretend house, and it made her out to be this amazing homemaker, this amazing cook, this creative genius that comes up with ideas like making towels wet, pouring lavender oil on them, and putting them in the fridge. I mean, that's a health and safety nightmare, isn't it? Let's be honest. Because if Mrs. Dolan started putting wet lavender towels in the fridge, I could come home after an evening of libation with my friends in a local hostelry. I could be a few ales deep, think that towel was some kind of foodstuff and shove it in my mouth. And I would choke, wouldn't I, on my own linen? Well, you know what it's like when you've had a few refreshments and, you open the fridge and you're like, that looks half edible. I'll get it down me. Imagine if I swallowed a flannel. Death by flannel. Please not. Anyway, the woman was a laughingstock as a result of her TV show, particularly mocked by Gwyneth Paltrow. And then, shockingly, Gwyneth felt the heat. So it's not only Piers Morgan and Thomas Markle and Jeremy Clarkson that have felt the wrath of Meghan's vengeful instincts, but poor old Gwyneth had to do a sort of what looked like a hostage video in which she pretended that she and Meghan were great friends. And she's given an interview going, oh no, I honestly wasn't having a go at her. I think she's an amazing lady. So Meghan has got this power over the showbiz elite. I don't know why. She hasn't got it over me yet, but I suspect I've got it coming, folks. But I know that if she comes after me with my daily truth bombs, that you've got my bag. I know that. So, before we wrap this up, terrible cook, terrible TV host, shambolic human being, and a very, very talented chef has criticized her and said that she can't cook. I don't think she should be teaching people to cook either. What would I cook for her? I would cook something that she's done on her TV program, but I would cook it properly. Okay, now this is a guy that he is a chef and his name is Stocks. Let's get the name because I did have it here. The show, by the way, is carefully researched in a detailed and thorough way. But for some reason, his full name has escaped my notebook. Chef Licks, Netflix, lawyers. Oh, I'm so good at searching the internet. And there we are. His name it's a great name, hard name to remember. He's called Jameson Stocks. And Jameson Stocks has basically criticized her cooking, which he's entitled to do because apparently that's free speech. Jameson Stocks. And he said, I don't think she can cook. Anyhow, you won't believe this, but he has had his collar felt by lawyers. That's right. He said the show was forced and fake, which it was, painful to watch, which it was, terrible. The music's slow. It's lethargic. He said, I proper annoyed Netflix. They did not like it. They came after me. So what's happened is this guy, Jameson Stocks, sounds like a lovely whiskey, doesn't it? A little drop of Jameson Stocks with some ice cubes. Anyhow, the bottom line is he said he received a lawyer's letter from Netflix warning him to stop criticizing Meghan. Now, where's that come from? Is that from Netflix? Or has that come from my husband? Has she called Netflix going, oh, hello, Netflix. They're being really unkind about me and saying true things about my terrible show and my terrible cooking. The poor guy, he said, I've not picked her out in a personal way. It wouldn't matter if it was Gordon Ramsay, Wolfgang Puck, or Donald Duck. I just didn't like the program. When he was asked about her popular jam, someone said, well, wait a minute, her jam is popular. And he said, I think that they probably only had about 10 of each product, which is why they, in inverted commas, sold out. He also said that he turned down Netflix's approach to consult on the show with Love Meghan. I didn't like the idea of me showing her how to do something and it being forced and fake. It just wasn't for me. Now, Netflix insiders deny the lawyer's letter and they deny that he was invited onto the show. But this guy, is standing his ground. Jameson Stocks said that Netflix are not happy that he's received letters. Now, Meghan's people have defended her, including the director of the show, Michael Steed, the As Ever show. By the way, his career is over now. I mean, get that off your CV, big guy. You'll never work again. Her cooking is pretty spot on, he said. There's a love of cooking that is palpable. One crew member, who I think was in handcuffs and attached to a radiator in the same underground layer that Prince Harry inhabits, saying Meghan was warm and approachable and very genuine, Your Honour. She was always very nice to us and made no threats. Absolute shambles. So, and this chef, by the way, is an interesting guy. He suffered a very broken childhood, an abusive stepfather, lived homeless for years, slept in shop doorways, landed a job at the age of 15 with Marco Pierre White, youngest ever winner of the National Restaurant of the Year award at 24. He's got a life story so compelling, this guy, Jameson Stocks, that Brad Pitt has bought the rights for a film about his life. He likes the older lady. He's in his 40s, about 41, 42. He dated the model Jo Wood, who is in her late 60s. And good for him, because the older ladies are very attractive and have so much to give. And it was a lovely thing to see a younger man with an older lady. We need to see more of that. He's consults for Michelin star restaurants. Unlike Meghan, he's a man of substance. He's a great chef and a powerful human being. So I'm afraid that Netflix and Meghan, you can write as many lawyers' letters to your life as you wish to this guy as you want. But he ain't going to back down. He's going to stand his ground because he is a man of substance. And by the way, the British authorities and the Home Office and the courts are not backing down either. It's been a bad day for Harry. It's been a bad day for Meghan. What's going to happen now? Do you think Harry could go to jail? If he does too many court cases, could he be sent down? Do you think? Just imagine Harry in the slammer. Well, let's be honest. He's already in jail, isn't he? He's in wife jail. He lives in a gilded cage in California. And the poor man, he wants out. He needs an escape. Folks, there you go. A massive day of royal stories. Can't wait to see you for the next one. Most likely tomorrow. I don't see why not. Please like, subscribe, and share, and hit the notification bell. I'll see you next time. Go and have a great day.